the second and the fourth.
This
I mean,
is
not the
sequel.
second and the third, the second and the fourth. Let's let a night go between so people can really rest from all of the tension in this show.
They're going to be so excited by this.
They need a day off.
The next
They need,
night.
let them have a
day
picnic
of
with their
rest.
family.
All right, take a look. This is Gambler 5 at CBS, starring Guess Who? Kenny Rogers.
You've been asking questions all over town. You ask questions in Santa Rita, you start with Jethro Boone. That's me.
First of all, I'm not a bounty hunter, Sheriff.
You don't look like a picker.
No Pinkerton.
Newspaper.
No.
Well, what's just your interest in the wildlife?
Purely personal.
You do better than that, mister. Or I'll turn you over to the Pinkertons. You don't beat the answers out here.
Sheriff, I've been tracking the Wild Bunch for the better part of a week. I'm tired, I'm dirty, and I'm fed up. And if you ever stick a shotgun in my ribs again, you better have paper on me.
And do you like acting?
I like acting when I'm acting. I hate the job of acting because you go out and you do 30 seconds and they say, okay, we'll be ready for you in 4 hours, and then you sit around for 4 hours. So there's nothing to do. It is really boring, the actual act of acting. But when you're out there and when you're doing something and you're giving something and you're getting something back from whoever you're acting with, it is great fun.
Now, do you have any sense of really wanting to be good?
No.
You don't, do you?
No, I don't.
Really don't?
You know, I have a couple of theories. First of all, I have a theory that there are actors and there are people who can act.
Yes.
I think I can act, but I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
The difference is if you give an actor unbelievable dialogue in an unbelievable situation, he'll make it believable. But if you give me believable dialogue in a believable situation, I can keep it believable. And there are a lot of people who can't do that. So I think there's a place for me. And plus, I just don't want to spend the time to do that. For me to get out there and really put forth an effort, I also would rather be good at a lot of things than great at anything. Because I think you have a much larger circle of friends if you do that.
What do you think you're best at? What do you do best?
Well, I think music is where my heart is. And at the same time, I don't really consider myself technically a good singer.
You don't think
I think I'm a
yourself
good
a good
entertainer.
singer?
I think that when people come see the show, it's never been important to me that they leave there saying, God, he's the best singer I've ever heard. But it is important that they leave saying, I had a good time. I really enjoyed that.
Why do you think you've been successful? I mean, I read about you that you're worth about $250 million.
I read that too. My God, why am I here? I
Your
asked.
fourth wife read it too.
Yeah, boy, a lot of them read that. A lot of them read that. You know, I just feel that success is no reason to quit to start with.
No, exactly.
And I think that...
But what is it you think? I mean, is it determination? Is it setting a goal? Is it, in a sense, surrounding yourself with people who are smarter than you are? Is it some working harder than everybody else? Is it God gave you these great gifts? What is it?
I think it's all of those things in timing. I think that had I not left Houston when I left Houston to go join the New Christie Minstrels, I would not have met the people with the first edition. Had I not met the people with the first edition, I wouldn't have been in a position to leave there to start my own thing. Had I not met Kirby Stone, who came through Houston in 1969 and taught me that this is a business, and if you handle it properly, you know, different things happen in your life that once they happen, your life can never be the same. But I think a tremendous amount of mine has been luck, that I've been there. And at the same time, I think that one of the keys to most people who are successful for any length of time is that I think I am what I present. You either like what I am or you don't like it, and that's fine too. But if you like it, it's like Dolly Parton. I mean, there's no one that's a better example of this than anyone I've ever met. If you like what you see on television with her, you will love her when you meet her, because she is that way 24 hours a day. And I think there's something to be said for that, because people like to know that if they like you on television and they meet you, you're going to be that way.
But who's the best example of somebody who is not what they appear on the air, on television, say?
I think anything I say would be derogatory, but it's a terrible, because I have a good analogy, but I'm not sure I should use it, because I don't want it to be personal, you know. But I mean, I've always loved Ted Danson, and I met Ted Danson, and I can't say personally what he's like, but he was just, I mean, I have nothing against him. He was very nice to me, but he was just so totally different from the characters he had played, from Sam.
Right.
And that's not necessarily bad. It was just shocking, because I expected to see Sam.
But that's the scripted part too, whereas you're talking about, when you talk about someone like Dolly, you're talking about an entertainer who is in fact herself
and
on
who
the air.
is, and I think, as in my case, not necessarily capable of being anything other than herself. In my case, the gambler is really me in Western clothes.
Yeah. Now, do you produce those yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, you know what it is with me? I just,
Yes,
I don't
I
want to
do.
answer to anybody. You know, if I don't want to do something, I don't want to do it, so I just produce them myself.
Yeah. What have you wanted to do that you haven't been able to do?
I've always wanted to do something, and I want to preface this by saying I want to do something that makes me worthy of being on the cover of Time magazine, whatever it is, without dying.
Well, like what can you imagine you could do to put yourself on the cover of Time
I don't
magazine?
know. I don't know. But I mean, I think it's a goal worthy of doing, you know, and I think that I've been on the cover of most other magazines.
Yeah.
And I think Time magazine is very selective about who they use.
Can you imagine it happening? I mean, do you visualize it happening?
Yeah. I don't know how, I don't know what. I mean, maybe this chicken thing will be big enough. God forbid I get on. I may have to wear a chicken. You may not know it. You may not know it's me, Charlie.
Of your time.
You may not know it's me. I may have a chicken helmet on. But no, I just think that there's got to be something out there that I'm capable of doing that justifies that use. And I would like to believe it's a goal, you know.
Why do you live in Las Vegas?
Well, what happened is, you know, when Mary
Not
and I
that I have everything against Las Vegas. They said you had this fabulous farm down in Georgia.
Yeah, and I actually still have that. But when Marianne and I separated, you know, and so when we did, I felt I needed another residence. And I was looking around, and I did a TV thing for CBS called McShane.
Oh, that's
and
right.
we thought it was going to be
a series of 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be
movies.
every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And as it turned out, it didn't work because the actually for NBC, it didn't work because they were doing the Mystery Wheel.
Right.
And it was going to be every Friday night, and the Mystery Wheel didn't work, and so consequently now I'm living in Las Vegas and I'm not doing anything.
Now,
there,
do you
so-
just take that in your stride that McShane didn't work? The idea is that this was a detective who worked for a hotel, and he would travel and he would go around and you build a character.
Yeah.
who comes out of it.
I take it in stride because it was not a personal failure. I think that what happened is, while the McShanes I did were not huge rating successes, I think everyone who saw them network and otherwise really liked them and liked the character. And I think there was room for that to grow and be something, but it was part of an overall concept that didn't work, and you can't be responsible for the overall concepts that don't work.
What's the worst thing? Go ahead.
I was going to say Perry Mason was supposed to have been one of the wheels in that, and then when Raymond Burr died, that didn't work, and the thing just kind of fell apart.
Yeah. You once wanted to do a talk show, or started a talk show, or just what?
No,
you guest
somebody
hosted
taught
on
me.
Carson.
Well, what? Oh, I thought you were talking about another thing.
Oh no, what's the other thing?
Well,
Tell me what
someone
you
had,
know.
John Peters had come to me one time, and Peter Goober, who are, as you know, very influential people.
Well, Peter Goober's at a Sony, isn't he? Is
Yeah.
it the same Peter Goober?
And
Yeah.
they are
and
friends
John
of mine.
Peters was his partner.
Right, and they are good friends of mine, and they kept saying, you know, you would make a perfect talk show host. I said, I don't want to do a talk show. You've got to do this.
It's
So we
much
go.
it's much beneath you, Roger. You
No,
should
it's
never
not
do
that.
it.
It's
I
not
mean,
that.
you should.
It just looks like way too much work. I mean, it just looks like too much work.
What?
So they said,
You
come
don't
on,
want
we'll
to
do
work
this.
hard. That's something else
I
about
have
you.
no interest. Well, I'll tell you, this goes back to when I was 12 years
Here's a
old.
man who's driven but doesn't want to work hard.
That's right. I'm driven to not work hard. It's a kind of an
He wants to
interesting-
be on the cover of Time magazine, but doesn't
but
want
I
to
don't want
work
to work hard. That's true.
He wants somebody
Maybe
to give
that's
him
how I'll
something.
get on there. But I remember when I was 12 years old, I went to see Ray Charles singing in concert,
Yeah.
and I remember thinking to myself, what a great idea. This guy's being paid to sing, you know, as opposed to working for a living.
Yeah. I once went to one of your concerts, and I said, this is the easiest thing in the world. I mean, you had all those old classics. I mean, you sing ballads.
Yeah.
And it was like a square. I don't know where this was, maybe in Dallas. And you would just go to one side, and maybe it was the Texas, whatever that place there where they play basketball. What's the name of that arena there? And you'd go out and sing, and then you'd go over to that side, and you go to that side, and it was amazing.
Well, I learned something a long time ago, that if you're standing in front of a group of people who aren't having a good time, stay the hell away from them for a while. You'll be amazed how glad they are to see you when you come back. So you learn those things, you know, and that's why working in the round is so much fun.
What's the best lesson you've ever learned as an entertainer? Just the notion of how to